What's up and welcome back to my channel. I am Diana, the founder of Money Boss Mama, and in this video I am going to hopefully quickly show you ladies who get paid multiple times a month. So I'm talking about bi-weekly, weekly, the 1st and the 15th. You get the point. I'm going to show you ladies how I recommend budgeting, especially as a beginner, and that is budgeting per paycheck. I like having a monthly overview, but also a budget per paycheck. That way you know exactly how to use each paycheck, how each paycheck should be divided up, and it just makes it a lot easier to stick to your budgeted amounts when you are actually pacing yourself. So I'm going to turn the camera around and kind of show you guys an example, walk you through it. So grab your pen, grab your notepad, grab whatever it is that you need to take notes, and let's get started. All right, so I probably have the most ghetto setup, but it's okay because we about to get this money right. So I am going to be walking you guys through it, but also showing you on my little notebook here an example. So let's say that this is Shishi's monthly budget and her income is $3,000 a month. So you see here I have income $3,000, and then here are her expenses. So she has rent, auto insurance, phone bill, you know, necessities, but she also has personal funds, and that's pretty much all that we have right now. So all together her expenses equal $2,720. So not bad because she has a gap of close to $300. And I'm going to say that she gets paid bi-weekly. So she gets normally 2 paychecks in a month. So I like to, for my clients, name them paycheck 1 and paycheck 2. So I say that I like having a monthly budget because you have your monthly overview, you know the month in its entirety. You can see everything, all of the expenses that you are going to be paying out and the income you're anticipating coming in for that entire month. But then when you get paid, you kind of have to go in and pick and pull what should go with each paycheck. And this makes it a lot easier when you are a beginner because you have a guide as to how your paycheck should be divided. You don't have to go to this monthly budget and try to pull out maybe, let's say, $100 you want to pull out for personal funds and trying to figure out, which bills that you should pay with this paycheck. You have it all listed out for you. And so if it was in an Excel spreadsheet, you would have one tab that says monthly budget, and then you will have a tab that is called paycheck 1 and paycheck 2. That's the way I like to do it for my clients. So depending on if it's the first paycheck of the month, they'll just go on paycheck 1's tab and see what they need to pay out. And so what's really important here is that I have the due dates listed out on the side. If you do not have like an Excel spreadsheet or in a notebook, your expenses, all of the expenses that you pay for regularly within a month and the due dates, I recommend doing that because when you're going in and you are dividing your monthly budget amongst your paychecks, it's going to make it easier to determine which expenses should be paid from each paycheck. So I use my pay dates as an example. So in November, I will get paid on the 11th, and I will also get paid on the 25th, which is going to be the second paycheck of that month. So going into our monthly budget, so paycheck 1 is going to be on the 11th. That means that these expenses have already passed. So hopefully we've already paid for, these expenses have already been paid for the month of November. So we will be starting with like the bottom half of the month, which is like the 28th, etc. And so we know for paycheck 1, we need to take the auto loan because the auto loan is due on the 28th. So for paycheck 1 of this month, we are going to take this out, auto loan. I am writing sideways, so please do not come for me. Our auto loan, and then we are going to also take out the cable and Wi-Fi because that is due on the 28th. So by the time we have our paycheck one come in, we will have the funds for these expenses that will be due the second half of the month, that will already be in our bills account, ready to be withdrawn or used to pay. Now, when it comes to these expenses that don't have a specific due date, like groceries and gasoline, I always recommend dividing it out evenly amongst your number of paychecks. So with groceries, we say within a month we typically spend $250. So that is going to be $125 that we're going to put in paycheck one and paycheck two. So let me go in here. All right, so we have groceries for both of these paychecks, and now personal funds or any other non-essentials that you have, like if you have, beauty or hair that you get done monthly, then I recommend dividing that out amongst each paycheck, as long as those funds or that expense is going to be, used every single payday, if that makes sense. So personal funds, if you get paid every 2 weeks, you're going to be using those personal funds every 2 weeks. So just take that out between the two paychecks or however many paychecks that you have. So for personal, we know that we typically spend $300 a month. So that's going to be $150. And I'm going to also put this in paycheck two as well. Oh my gosh. She's trying to leave me. Wow, this is hard. Okay, and so next we also have childcare, and we say that childcare, we pay childcare every single Monday. So obviously both paychecks are going to have to cover childcare as well, and this helps to take the bulk of it off of one specific paycheck if you divide it out amongst all the paychecks that you are getting within that month. So let's say that we're going to divide childcare evenly, so it is $450 every single month. We're going to pay it for 2 weeks per paycheck, and so that's going to be $225 that we are going to be paying out for childcare for paycheck one and paycheck two. So on payday, we're just going to pay up for those 2 weeks and then keep that in rotation. Okay, and so cable and Wi-Fi, that's $200. Auto loan is $300. All right, so altogether this is $1,000, and each paycheck, since we get paid $3,000, let's say that each paycheck is $1,500, and so you have a $500 buffer or difference between your expenses and your income for paycheck one. But really quickly, you're going to see what's going to happen with paycheck two whenever you are starting off doing this. So for paycheck two, we get paid on the 25th, so we want to take December's first half of the expenses with this paycheck. So that's going to be rent, auto insurance, and our phone bill. So let's say we have rent, that is $850. We have insurance, that is $80. And then we also are going to have our phone bill, which is $90. So you can probably already see that paycheck two is what I call bill heavy, and that just means that you're paying out more bills with this paycheck. So adding this all together, because I did this pre-video, it is $1,520. Since our paychecks are only $1,500, we're over budget by $20 and we don't have any wiggle room. Now, if we would have came in at $1,500, I still would suggest what I'm about to suggest to you. And that is doing the half payment method or trying to reduce one of these larger expenses by putting some of it in the other paycheck. And that's because if you have one paycheck in which you don't have a lot of expenses, it's going to be very, very difficult to keep yourself from overspending because you feel like you have more money. And then you're going to feel super tight when it comes to those paychecks that are considered bill heavy. And so let's say that for rent, we are going to, because this is the largest expense here, we're going to have paycheck one carry some of that weight. So let's say that we have paycheck one, we are going to pull out $200. So we're also going to add rent $200 out of the $850 here, and that is going to make this $1,200. So you still have a $300 gap when it comes to paycheck one. So, you know, whatever financial goals that you have, adding your savings, debt balances, things like that. Now, this is obviously not including all the expenses that the average person is going to have. And so for paycheck two, that frees up $200. So this will be $650 instead of $850. And so we get to subtract $200 from the $1,520. So that puts us at $1,320. So we have close to a $200 gap here, and then we have a $300 gap here. So you'll have to go in and choose which way to best maximize and honor your extra money. But y'all know I love buffers, so I'm always going to suggest that you add in a buffer, which is just a specific amount that you put into your budget just in case you go over. You can pull from these funds. So it helps to kind of CYA as you're getting used to sticking to certain amounts. And so this is how it is going to look if you are budgeting per paycheck. So once again, I always recommend having monthly budget overview just so you can see the month in its entirety, and then break it up per paycheck so you know exactly, no questions asked, how you need to divide up your paycheck. What is going to go where, what bill is going to be taken care of, and how much you have to safely spend and apply to your goals. And guys, even if you get paid weekly, you can still do this. It's just going to take you going in, listing out all of your expenses, the due dates, and making it work with your pay dates. And then the way that it also works with my clients, I like to go into the next month. So it would be December after November, just to make sure that we can keep our paychecks the same, because you want consistency so that it's easier to build the habit of sticking to your budget. So you want to go in and check on your pay dates for December and make sure that the auto loan is still going to work, the cable and Wi-Fi is still going to work with the due dates, and then also the same for paycheck 2, the rent is going to work and the insurance is going to work with these due dates. And then for the expenses that don't have a specific due date, such as, you know, gas and groceries, you just pay as they're needed. You're going to make sure to include them in your paychecks, especially if you're just paid twice a week. You want to put them in both paychecks, but if you're paid once a week, obviously that might look a little different for you. And also, I just realized, if you guys are realizing, that we forgot gasoline. Girl, where are we going if we don't have any gas? So we're going to add $100 to this. This puts us at $1,300. We still have a good gap, so we have $200 gap here. And then we're going to add gas here. So we're going to do the half payment method. Since we typically spend $200 a month, we're going to put $100 here to use and then $100 here to use. And that puts us at $14.20. And so you have an $80 gap here. If you feel like that is too tight, then just pull out more for rent. You can just have it at $300 that you're going to put back on paycheck one in order to make rent whenever rent comes due on the 1st of December, which is a few days after your paycheck number 2 comes in. And so that is how I recommend doing it. Hopefully this was really helpful to you all. Leave me a thumbs up if you were following along with me, and let me know how you budget your paychecks if you are paid more than once. And I will catch you in the next video.